Aotearoa.
Okay, say that again.
Aotearoa. Aotearoa. Tēnā koe Heather, mōrena.
Cynthia. Kei te pehe koe?
Ai, kei te pai, kei te pai. Kei te pehea koe?
Tino pai, e hiko e te one tēnei ata.
One, ki te one.
One roa, ai.
Yeah. Ai, ai. Oh, kua whiti te rā.
Ke whiti te rā ka
Ai, kia mahana.
hau.
Ai,
Right.
ai, kia mahana. Yeah. So do you know, do you know where Heather went? Do you know what she was telling me, Megan?
That you cold, you're keeping warm or you've been cold?
At the very beginning, after our greeting one another,
Yep.
she said that she used the word hikoi, which you know.
A walk.
Ki te one.
Yep.
Ki te one. And then she used the word oneroa.
Oh.
Do you know what oneroa is?
Is that Russell? No, that's not Russell. No.
It's a very long thing up on the west coast, traveling from Kaitaia all the way to the Cape. It's a beach.
Oh, right. All right. So
you know, 90 Mile Beach.
Yes.
90 Mile Beach is Māori uses its proper Māori name, which is Te Oneroa.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so Heather was saying that she went to the beach for a walk this morning, and I said to her, "Ai, kia whiti te rā," meaning the sun is up high.
Yeah.
And then I went on to say that it's warm. It's a warm day. And Heather said, yeah, right throughout the world, te ao, you said, eh?
I said, whiti te hau, wind.
Oh, right.
Oh, the wind.
Oh, no.
Cold wind.
To blow the wind. Phew, te hau, blow the wind blowing.
How can be also used for wind?
Yeah.
Ngā hau e whā,
Ai.
ngā hau e whā, which is a common expression, is about the four winds.
Ai. Taku marae I kura raraka mō ngā hau e whā.
Te ingoa o tērā marae.
Haratu.
Lovely.
Ke hea te tangata? Toru tangata anake. We've only got three.
Yes, and it's there. Oh, well.
Is it 10 o'clock?
Yeah, 5 past.
Oh, goodness me.
That's all right. We will do our karakia.
Everybody's busy.
Yeah, I had an apology from Robin, and that's okay.
Aye.
It's okay if people catch up on the recordings. That's okay.
Aye.
So I thought we would say this one together.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so together, kia tau, kia te ātawhai, me te rangi Māori o te atua. Mā te atua,
koe e
whāu ki te pono.
me te hara. Ko te rā, tēnei honga I hoa. Kia hare, kia koa tātou. Ko te rā, tēnei I hanga I hoa. I hara kia koa tātou.
E te ari.
Ki aroha mai. E te karaiti ki aroha mai. E te riki ki aroha mai. eternal spirit, earth maker, pain bearer, life giver, source of all that is and that shall be, Father, Mother, loving God in whom is heaven, the hallowing of your name, echo through the universe. The way of your justice be followed by the peoples of the world. Your heavenly will be done by all created beings. Your commonwealth of peace and freedom sustain our hope and come on earth. With the bread we need for today, feed us. In the hurts we absorb from one another, forgive us. In times of temptation and test, strengthen us. From trials too great to endure, spare us. From the grip of all that is evil, free us. For you reign in the glory of the power that is love, now and forever. Amen. Kia ora ia ki ariki, kia whakai ki atua.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Kia ora. Tēnā korua. Tēnā korua. Nau mai hoki mai ki te tātou nei wahanga. Mō te kōrero tangi, mō te kōrero takahi ki te whare. Nau mai hoki mai. Pai ki te kite a koe Heather, me koe Megan, mō tēnei wā. So welcome back. Where 2 or 3 are gathered, of course. Here we are. So
It was interesting saying that Mother Father prayer, because I know we've all read the book, and it had the background. You know, the this book.
Oh, yeah.
And it had the background, and they had that little argument over putting mother in, and some of them didn't like that. So I was quite aware of it when I said that one. I thought, oh, I've just read about this.
Yeah, and there are congregations or people, individual people that refer, you know, they say she instead of he.
Yeah.
And Polynesia particularly has difficulty with that.
Yes.
You know, it's just how they've been brought up. I don't know necessarily that it is really a gender debate on their part. I think it's just how they've been brought up.
Yeah.
That God is male.
Yeah. For me now, as I have that prayer, it's one that I would use at my own funeral.
Yes. Beautiful.
Because I think it relates more to the average person.
Yes. And it brings it into the 21st century, really.
Yeah. I mean, it was so forward-looking, that prayer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Heather, welcome. How many tangi have you done, Heather? Have you done any?
Well, Kororaraka Russell have a sort of blended tangis they do in the houses often. So I just need a bit of brushing up on custom, I think. I've had to learn by the seat of my pants, basically.
Right.
I mean, 20 years ago, I was asked the takahi whare, and I really didn't know what I was doing.
Yes.
And I said to the kaumātua, I don't think you should ask me. And he said, yes, you're the one, and I'll tell you what to do. So that was quite an experience.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so what wording did you use at that time? Did you use anything from the prayer book?
I used the prayer book, yes, I did. But I wasn't sure how you used water or bread, all those things. I've learned over the years a bit.
Yeah. And hey, you know, sometimes we just have to learn. You know, I think some of the difficulty and fear, there's a lot of fear around what you know, that it's bang, 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 bang. Māori have that same fear. They're frightened to deviate in any way from the prayer book. And I think the prayer book, I see it as a guide. I don't see it as stuck in concrete necessarily. I think you have to be quite mindful of the context around you. and whether you're sharing the service with others. So when I'm back up in the Hokianga, I often share a tangi. If it's a whānau member or a kaumātua we all love and known all our lives, I generally do an ecumenical service with my Catholic brother and my Methodist brother. And we might have a rātana there.
Yes.
And so we can't make it just a stock standard Anglican thing, but they might say, oh, can you do this part and can you do, or I might say, how about you do this part and you do this part. What they do like is the structure of Anglicanism and Catholics. They have a structure and they have a book. And they quite like that. Oh, you do all the important bits. You know, and you pull out your prayer book and and it consoles them. But if the family are Catholic but they want to include me, they might then ask me just to do a homily, an independent homily. But yeah, tangi, as you know, Heather, for Māori, has always been on marae, and only nowadays it's sort of starting to go back into the home, and it's mainly cost, really. I don't think it's about not wanting to go on to marae, but when you think about 3 days on a marae, it's a cost to hire the marae, it's a cost to feed everybody.
There's a lot of work for the ahika too.
It is. A lot of work, and of course, you know, nowadays you have to prove to your organisation that you're working for that it's an immediate family member. So it can't be your 5th cousin removed. You won't get paid. So it's all of those factors, I think, that has in many ways sort of brought it back into a house. I did a funeral once. I was asked, I was relatively new in the ministry, but the wife of the gentleman who had passed away specifically wanted me to do it. And I was surprised because there were many senior priests around me, Māori. And I mean, I didn't question her necessarily, but I did ask, is there a reason, you know, is there something that I bring to the tangi that is comforting for you? And she said, yes. Yes, 1, you're a woman. And 2, you're not stuck. You're not stuck in this. I want my husband's funeral to be a celebration. I don't want it to be all sad and serious, and because they usually are. Oh, okay. And she said, I just know that you'll bring your ukulele, you'll sing songs that you know. And I thought, okay. And that was kind of, it helped shape me as a minister to realize, okay, it's not stuck. Don't get stuck and make it meaningless to the family. Yeah, go through the motions, but if it's meaningless to them, then how are we actually being pastoral? And so that helped shape me in terms of how I conduct myself at certain things. Tangi can be really joyful. They can be serious, but there's serious times because we have 3 days to do stuff. By the funeral day, so tangi for us is not about just the funeral day. It's much more than that. So it's important to know that there is a 3-day leader. And on the night before the funeral, that's the night when everybody can stand up and have the toko, as they say. So you pass it around. Everybody on the marae or in the house has an opportunity to speak. There's no formality about it. And you can talk about anything you want regarding your relationship with that person. Or you can talk about the character of that person. And often we're in laughter. We're just bursting out in laughter. When they buried p826, I'm not sure if you know p826, Pāhenare Tate, Catholic priest of 52 years. they buried him up at Motiti. And Te Hahi Mihingare or Taitokere took a busload. And we walked onto the marae with 400 people. And when we walked on, and we had some Pākehā people with us, you know, it wasn't just Taitokere, but we had some Pākehā people with us. And we walked onto the marae, and they were quiet for a little while, and then we all walked up to the coffin. And then they carried on because we interrupted what they were doing, and there was a lot of people already in the marae. And of course, next minute they all burst out in laughter. Now we're used to it. Māori are used to it. We don't get offended by it. It's not a situation where we all have to be really sad and really crying, because there's such a flow of people coming through. Obviously, it's in different stages of the tangi, and it's accepted. You won't get it on the funeral day, but during the tangi, during those 3 days leading up to the funeral day, you've got hordes and hordes and hordes of people arriving. So we did have a lady with us who was deeply disturbed by the laughing. Took her a while to come to terms with that's how we do it, and it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. We can still cry. We can still stand in front of Pa and cry. It's all right. And then eventually we'll be up there, you know, sitting where they are. They'll all go for a cup of tea, and then we'll be sitting there. And then whatever Bishop Kittel says might be funny. And then we'll all laugh when someone else is walking on. So, you know, those, I guess, are some people might find that a little bit peculiar. But Māori don't. It's just part of tangi, really. So I enjoy that. But, you know, for the purpose of our liturgy, of course, this is only the funeral day in our book. I think that's important because we have a morning prayer and we have evening prayer as well. The evening prayer is quite short. And we've taken bits and pieces from the liturgy, appropriate. So it might be the night prayer, but just slightly different, because we translate it into our own language. And it's quite, we always say the Lord's Prayer, of course. There's always a reading, always. And then there might be a short homily by the priest, maybe. But certainly there's 2 songs usually. If nobody knows any hymns, then I will have, I'll use my device and play something. So that's where it becomes really different. But now, in the 21st century, they're more accepting of that type of medium. Because I don't want it to be a solo. I don't want to sing a hymn all by myself. So it's better to play something. And often they know it and they'll sing along. So yeah, the tangi we're talking about, certainly from a Te Hahi perspective, is the funeral day.
Yes, I haven't spent the whole 3 days with people, but I have been to marae close by at Rāwhiti and Waikari to take funerals, and I wasn't sure what to do, so I immediately talked to the kaumata and said, you tell me what to do when, because I think they're in charge of the marae, really, aren't they?
Yes, but there's also an expectation from them that the pirihi or the priest has this window where you're in charge.
That's what I'm trying to find out.
You're in charge.
The window are.
Yeah. They provide the window for you, yes, but how that window is opened and shut is up to the pirihi. It's up to the priest.
Right.
All the content within it is up to the priest. And so, which is the beauty of our prayer book, really, is that we have the resources there. And it is just a matter of, you might want to take a little bit from here and a little bit from there and a little bit from there. you can take even some of the Eucharistic prayers that are in the Eucharistic liturgies, you can actually adapt them into a setting. And then you've got Psalm 23, of course, Psalm 121. They're the most common used. Māori sing those. Not all the time, but they can. They can sing them, and they're beautiful. Catholics sing them in Māori as well. Yeah, so it's, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's you know, I don't lock myself into a book word for word. I just don't think that does. Yes, it honours the liturgy, I get that, and it honours Anglicanism, I get that, but I also want to honour the whānau and the marae and the people who have come. And so it's not strictly, you know, that. Make it relevant. And, you know, people are really, really, I mean, if you're standing there and just going blah, 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 I just don't think we're connecting enough, really. So to be able to swing in and out of that sort of pastoral and priestly role, I think it's kind of, you know, I think it's lovely, and it's something that comes, I guess, depending on where you are and who you're burying. So I just want to.
I think in some of the Pākehā funerals, when we use the liturgy, we personalise it, and so I think that's the same thing as you saying we need to connect.
Yes.
We sort of the words, we personalise it in some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
lovely.
we too have found that, you know, the funeral liturgy at times doesn't quite suit the situation.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, and I don't think the book is supposed to do that. I don't believe that that's how they wrote it, that we should be locked into it word for word, line for line, and and so I'm pleased to hear that. So but I just want to go through one of the biggest funerals that I've been involved with, and that was for Tāpōra, Sir Paul Rees. That was huge. It's the biggest tangi I've ever been involved with. And I'm only a minor player, but nonetheless a player. But Sir Paul Reeves was, he lay at Holy Sepulchre in Kaipapas, and that's where he was the whole time. The only time he left there was when he was on the funeral day, and they took him to Holy Trinity Cathedral in Parnell, where there was a civic service for him. But it was just a beautiful tangi. Beautiful tangi. These were some of the photos that were taken, and there were many thousands of people coming in, and schools, and, you know, I mean, these are big guns. These are real big guns at his tangi. And so he lay there for, let's say, 4 days, 3 days and a bit. On the 4th day, they took him up to Holy Trinity and buried him at St. John's College in Meadowbank. But you probably don't know any of these people, but they're big guns. This guy here represents the Kingitanga, Māori king. And there was a Sir Anand is sitting there. He was the Governor General at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some of his colleagues that he works alongside. That's the Archbishop of York, Sem Tamu, came over. Beside him is Tiki Raumati from the Diocese of Taranaki. Archdeacon he was the Archdeacon at the cathedral for quite some time. He's passed away now. Archbishop Philip, and again, Tikiro Mati. I like those sort of photos where they're talking, you know, they're action shots rather than people standing there and smiling at the camera. And so he's, I can tell by Philip's expression and Tiki's expression that they're talking about, it's light. It's not funny, but it's a light moment. Perhaps about, you know, Tiki, I can imagine Tiki saying, oh boy, it's going to be a huge funeral at the cathedral. You know, and I can imagine Philip thinking, yes, it's going to be a huge funeral. That's Tamu talking to Beverly, Lady Beverly. This is still at Tātai Hono. So the whole of Tātai Hono was turned into a marae. The only people that could stay overnight there was the family. We didn't allow anybody else to stay. They had to go home or go into motels. And it was really lovely. There was only a handful. I was privileged enough to be just part of the small handful that was allowed to be with the family to do the evening prayers with Kittle. John Patterson. It's a beautiful, beautiful photo. Queer, she's no longer living, and that's Mere Mangu on the right-hand side. You'd recognise her, I think, Megan.
Now you mention it. Did you take these photos?
No. These were for Taonga. Taonga magazine. But that is one of my favourite photos of two women having a hongi. It's just a really lovely, gentle moment. But that was at the Tangi. So Lloyd Ashton was the one who covered the story. And of course, that's Tā Paora coming out of the cathedral after the funeral service, and then they took him up to St. John's College. But on the left-hand side, they're all Te Aute boys, which is, you know, Te Aute is in the Taranaki. Anyway, Tā Paora had a lot to do with Te Aute boys. So, yeah, I think I'm sort of saying again that a tangi, when you're talking to a Māori, is not just a funeral day. It's 3 days of people coming and going. It's what I love about it is that the whanaungatanga. So you see family members that you haven't seen for a long time, and you get to sleep with them on the marae, and you get to catch up, and you get to meet their new husbands or their new wives and their new children and their new grandchildren, and you may not have seen them for years and years and years. I love that. It's a beautiful, beautiful time, those 3 days leading up to the funeral day. So tangi, yeah, when you say tangi to somebody, Māori will think, oh yes, that's 3 days on a marae. Oh, that's a lot of work, that's a lot of cooking, that's a lot of people to feed, you know. And certainly for Tā Paora, it was huge. But it was a civic. No, is that the right one? What's the proper word? The crown.
Yeah, no, civic, I think's the word.
Covered all the costs. So we had to put it up first, you know, the Taitokera and the Diocese of Auckland, you know, we put up all the funding to begin with, and then everything had to be claimed back from them. But he's currently buried at St. John's College, just next to the chapel. He's in a very prominent place. there, and all students who walk backwards and forwards down to the John Kinder Library walk past him. And that was quite a feat, apparently, to get him buried there. But that whole thing of the Tangi was just absolutely amazing. So I just want to take us to the service. So Heather, you've had a little bit of experience, as you said, and it's kind of been, you know, you've had to kind of, you know, pick it up as you go and do the best you can. But I think you've done the best thing by consulting a kaumatua. But at the end of the day, you know, the actual content of the karakia that you do is your responsibility. Because they're not saying it for you. You are. And you would already know that you're consulting with the families anyway. So sometimes they have eulogies, sometimes they want to do a song, sometimes they want to do a prayer, sometimes they have a favorite psalm or something like that. I have to say I've never done a funeral that excluded God. You know, like I've never been to a funeral that excluded God, ever. And I suppose if someone asked me to do a funeral and can you please leave God out, I would probably decline, as I would with marriages. And I have declined marriages that have said, you know, they want to get married in this beautiful church with all its beautiful coloured windows, but actually, you know, do we have to have that? Well, yeah, I'm a priest. Oh, you know, it's so I haven't been to a tangi where they've excluded God in any way, in any form.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Pākehā funerals do want to exclude God.
Is that right?
Yeah. A lot of the LSMs speak of being approached for funerals and no God content or no religious content.
Yeah.
And most of those taking the services talk with the families. What does that really mean? If it really is nothing, then you're best to go and find, you know, a celebrant or a funeral. Yeah. However, if you're wanting to connect and have a little bit, and they talk it through, and in the end, the local shared ministry priests, you know, they'll end up doing the Lord's Prayer and a couple other appropriate little bits, and they tie it together wonderfully.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I've
That's good.
that one over the years too. In fact, the last service I took was a memorial service, and they'd said they didn't want God, but I said we'll have a period of silence when those that wish will pray, can pray, and those that want to disremember can do so. And I took it because for me the pastoral thing was more important, and the fact that I'm a Christian and they ask me is they are very vulnerable, and I just couldn't say no.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have to pray inside me.
Yeah.
They know that I do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't say no.
Wow. Yeah, it's a tricky one, eh?
I have struggled with that for years, but when I come down to it, it's a pastoral thing that shapes me, I think.
Yeah.
It doesn't deny what I am, and it doesn't encroach over their boundaries if they don't want it.
Yeah.
It's a tension.
Yes.
Can you understand? Can you understand that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I can't help but think if people are asking you to do a tangi, especially if they know that you're a priest, there must be some element in them that
I've never had it with a tangi. It's Pākehā do this.
Yeah, it's Pākehā.
Right.
But when you unpack it, as you say, it's often that what Megan says. It's often their perception of what you're going to do.
Yes.
And their past experience of a church or a church congregation. I think people are trusting. If they know you, they know that you won't abuse their trust.
Yeah.
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 And
But there's reciprocity in that as well. There is reciprocity, and they also need to respect our office.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we are Christians.
Yes.
And yeah, we have a pastoral responsibility. I get that, but I think I sort of scratch my head if you know, why would you want a priest in the first place? Or do you want a friend? Do you want a friend? You know, and that's a different conversation, because if they know you and they want a friend, I can understand. But can you leave God out of it? But if they know you and you're a friend, and they also know that you're a priest, then I think there's some reciprocity. I think they also need to respect our office as well, and possibly try not to compromise us and our office. But I do know other priests that have been asked to do funerals, but can we have as little as God as possible? So we did all our himene. And you know what was funny? I thought it was really funny. I didn't see it as a leave God, you know, only a little bit. I didn't know about it until afterwards, until the priest told me. So I was not aware that they had asked it. But he did it in a different way. I mean, he still did the funeral, and he still had a lot of our liturgy in there, but in an unnoticeable way, if I could put it that way. I didn't notice it. That's why I can say I've never been to one. And then we sang all our songs. And so, you know, we have stock standard songs. And the one that we use certainly on the funeral day is where we use there's three of them. This particular one that I was going to take you through is not in the prayer book anywhere. Is Koto Katora. Oh, yes. Yeah, and we usually sing that sort of somewhere close to the gathering, to the mihi. So if you had your prayer book open to page 827, so we're talking about the funeral day now. Yep. And so you would have at the top there, the greeting, all standing, the minister may greet the people. Yeah, and we do that. We do this long tau parapara, and perhaps, Pākehā do too. So, but we would welcome the whānau, e te whānau, no mai haere mai. That usual. Pākehā would do the same. Welcome. Lovely that you've all gathered. Ki tō tātou nei whare karakia. Welcome to this church. Or welcome to this marae. No mai haere mai. Ngā mihi ki te whānau pani. So we're acknowledging whānau pani are the mourners, the most affected. Whānau pani. Always acknowledged by all speakers that come. So the format, of course, if you're coming to pay your respects at a tangi, the speaker will acknowledge the dead gone before, and then God, the dead, and then the whānau pani. Pretty much in that order. So right up there, the whānau pani, the most important part of the mihi, is to acknowledge them. Mortal pauri, which is their sadness. Mō ngā roimata, all the tears. Or koutou, so you're still talking to the whānau pani. Your tears. And then you can pause just for a moment and then say, tātou katoa, mean it's all of our tears, including yourself. That T tātou, totality. Nō reira, koutou katoa, to you all, no mai haere mai. Right, so that would be a normal greeting at a tangi. And then, or on a funeral day. And then me tīmata tātou. So let us begin. And then you would refer to your book. Māori priests, in my experience, go backwards and forwards between te reo and Pākehā. I guess it depends on really who the whānau pani is, whether they do actually know how to speak te reo Māori. No point in conducting a service fully in te reo Māori if none of the children talk it or speak it, or the grandchildren. But we've had 3 days to determine that. You know, I'll talk to them briefly in te reo Māori, and if they can't answer then I would probably then stick with Pākehā language, English language. But there's enough Māori, you know, te reo, but certainly at the beginning there, you know, kua tae mai tātou, we have come together. So we don't need it written for us, we just know how to say it. Kua tae mai tātou ki te maumahara, ta tātou tuahine, sister, tungane, brother, hoa, friend, papa, kaumātua, you know, so you're referring to the person. Ki te maumahara, to remember. And ki te whakaritia, to not commend, that's not quite right, but to process, to put in place. Ia, ki te whakahaerenga, so to send off. To send off. Ko tae mai tātou ki te awhi, so to comfort. Ki te whakakaha, to strengthen. Te whānau, the family. Te whānau pani. I roto i te tūmanako, in hope. O tātou, runga i te mate me te āranga. Through the death and resurrection, o ihu karate. So that's something that's not necessarily written. It's something that those who are versed, you know, it's not difficult to tell, but it's once you use it, then you know it. Sadly, our liturgy doesn't provide for it in the Tangi service. Heather, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this book.
The little one.
Yeah. I was going to say, if there's they're floating around. At St Martinets and Chad's, for instance, we did a big clean out in the hall, and I found a box full of them. I couldn't believe my luck, and they didn't want them. So I said, I'll have them. I'll have them. And so there was about 300 books. And so, oh, look, there we go. Oh, yours is all worn out.
It's got bits stuck in the back too.
Has it? Lovely.
Kia hora te marano.
I think Megan's going to show hers off too. Yeah, here she comes. Oh no, she can't find it. No, she can't find it.
Can't find it. Not straight off. So
honestly,
you're saying that one's got the Māori.
No, not for the Tangi. The Tangi doesn't have Māori.
No.
But Takahite Whare is in one section in this book, whereas in the prayer book, it's in 2 sections. There's a whole English section, and then there's a whole Māori section. But this one is Daglot.
Right.
No, I haven't got the Daglot.
The green one should be Daglot.
Oh, okay.
If you go to page 872 in your green one.
Oh, prayers in the house. Aye, it's Daglot.
It's Daglot, yeah. whereas the pre-book itself isn't.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, right. I hadn't noticed that.
So if you know anybody that's got these,
Yep.
just say, I'll have them.
Mm.
They're not using them. People are not using them anymore. Māori are. They're hungry for these, but they're not being printed anymore.
Mm.
But you've got one of these, eh, Megan?
I'm sure I've got one somewhere.
Yeah.
I might have scored a box, and
Oh,
otherwise
yeah.
I might take some of yours.
You had no, mine are all gone now.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was 2.5 years ago. But
Okay.
I just knew areas that needed them. You know, I used to take them. I had a box and I used to take them and I never got them back. And then you have to find some more and you never get them back. So I distributed them throughout Taitoke. But yeah, sadly the Tangi service has limited te reo. And so it does rely on the priest, the pirihi, to have some knowledge. There is some there, of course, all you know, kia noho a ihua ki a koutou. Kua hau te aranga, you know, haere mai ki a hau on 828. Koia no te aroha. Beautiful. Beautiful. So they are there, and you can actually print them in your order of service for a tangi with both. But certainly there's provision for the reo to be used in tangi. And so usually, koutou katoa, as I was saying, usually comes in just before, kind of after aha ko nā te mate, you know, the minister. Therefore, although we have been parted from, then we'll come in with maybe koutou katoa. Because koutou katoa, you know the tune, eh? Do you know the tune?
Yeah. That's it, isn't it?
That's it. That's it.
It's in the hymny book.
That's right. In the Māori hymny book. Yeah. Yeah. You haven't got it in your songbook yet, though.
No.
Megan.
No.
But it's the same source where you get your other translations from. You know, for your book, you'll be able to get koutou katoa. And I think it might also have that little piece of music there for anyone who doesn't know it. So it's a, you know, it's a common one at Tangi, and it celebrates all of us coming together, including children. So that's a stock standard Tangi song, and that's about all come to me. Come to me, all who are burdened, you know, all who are sad, which is why we use it at the beginning of a service usually. And then we continue on. And then we continue on, of course, with the liturgy on page 800. And we don't go to Te Reo Māori all the way. There's a lot of English spoken, and it's used from the prayer book. So I don't need to unpack that necessarily. But where we can use Te Reo, you know, of course, is the Lord's Prayer.
Yep.
And the reading can be done in Te Reo from the Paipera Tapu. Whatever reading you choose. Or the Psalm 23, we also sing it. There's a beautiful version also sung by an Australian group called I've got a blank on that, but even the English is beautiful. Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I have all I need. It's a cappella, 5-part harmony, and using modern language. The idea of north, if you want to write that down, Megan, the idea of north, and they're an Australian a cappella group. They do a beautiful version of Psalm 23. Yeah, and then the reading is usually done in Te Reo Māori. So, you know, there's enough Māori content, Te Reo content, that people feel connected. And the priest feels connected with the people there. We don't usually go into any lengthy prayers necessarily because we open the floor up for eulogies. And they can pray. So in the lead up, I talk with the whānau and I say to them, here's a chance for you to put forward your plea for the passage. So that's what fills that area, is the eulogies. Waiata. And then maybe even the a whānau member might actually choose to do the reflection. So we would fill that area up there, the prayers, with that part of the service. And then when we get to the commendation, I've not known, you know, that first part of that commendation, it's not really a familiar part of the liturgy for me personally. We normally go to the one on page 840.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's mine. No.
Now, the one on 840 is the same as the liturgy on 836, just so that you know.
Didn't know that.
God alone is holy and just and good. Yeah, that's what's on page 840. So we can go straight to 840. We're still following the commendation of, you know, the previous liturgy or previous option, as it were, but this is the one most commonly used. So the commendation is usually done on the marae, and then straight after, you know, right down the bottom of page 840, I runga I te rangi Māori, that's usually when a hymn is brought in, is sung, and it's often tamanako Māori. And you would be familiar with that one. That's certainly in your book. It's on page 174 of the prayer book. Tamanaka. So as soon as that's announced, the lid goes on. We ask people to put the lid on because they throw themselves in the coffin. They have huge difficulty, despite all the coaching you give them in the lead up. It doesn't change. People's emotions run really high when that lid goes on, more than when it's lowered. It's when they can't see their loved one anymore. They feel departed from that loved one. So this is a particularly heart-wrenching waiata, himene, because the lid's going on at this point. And then, of course, we leave and we head to the urupa. And then at the urupa, of course, is the committal. So we might start with just a prayer there, a short prayer in Te Reo Māori, nothing necessarily from the liturgy, just asking God to be with us at this final moment. Just something short in the lead up to the committal, and then waihoki ka tukua on page 841. But you can use a combination of some of the things. You can do a little English prayer, if you like, from page 836, and then go into the committal. And then the final hymn that I invoke when I'm there is usually Mā Te Māria, because you're the last person to speak before you open the floor up or open the speeches up. People will speak. They'll come around, you know, chuck earth or flowers into the grave. So straight after Amini, I'll start it myself. They don't need words. They don't need words on any of these. They know them. You know it, eh? Maria te atua te wairua. So it's in the prayer book,
Yeah.
And you've got the prayer book in front of you, so
Yeah.
it's easy, or your order of service will be with you.
Yeah.
And that ends your part, really.
Yeah.
Now, you'll be aware, of course, that, what's our time? Oh, you'll be aware, of course, that down on the marae, the coffin usually has a korowai put over it,
Oh.
if it's at a marae.
Mm-hmm.
Usually has a korowai, very rarely it doesn't. That korowai belongs to the hapu, or it belongs to the marae, or it belongs to a family. So after everyone's, you know, paid their respects at the graveside, I generally don't hang around. I generally make my way down to the marae fairly quickly and start, you know, checking with the kitchen and checking here. And it's just a logistics thing, really. So I don't hang around. They console each other. They talk. They can take a while. And for Māori, we wait for the grave diggers to come down.
Yeah.
So hopefully people won't speak too long, and hopefully they won't hang around at the graveside too long. But then they're called kiripaku, or kiripaki, kiripaku, the grave diggers anyway. So they'll start filling in, and then there's another rush of emotion when that starts filling up. But while we're down at the marae, people make their way down. It's usually a walk, and we wait at the gate. And we usually wait for the grave diggers to come down. So that often takes a long time. Things are getting a little less sort of scary nowadays. Now I ask for water to be brought to the gate, so especially in summer, so that people can drink while we're waiting. They didn't like that idea up in Hokianga, but they've gotten used to it now. No food, can't eat food, but you can drink water.
I thought you'd say the water was for washing the hands.
Yeah.
Well, yes, they can do that too, but there's usually a creek, or there's bottles at the urupa. Sorry, yeah.
Rightio.
Or a tap at the urupa. So they do all of that, or they go to the creek, do all of that, come in, but the water at the gate is usually just for drinking, because I've had people faint.
Yeah. There's older people there.
Yeah. And they're diabetics, and they're all, you know, there's all sorts of reasons why we actually need to replenish their hydration. We need to hydrate them. So that was a really, really difficult thing to change at my marae, but I was insistent. I just got really grumpy one day. And I said, well, if you won't do it, I'll do it myself. And I did. I started to fill a vessel, and because then they realized, well, she's going to do it, whether we like it or not. I said, you are not giving me the right reasons for not hydrating our kaumātua queen. It's ridiculous. Come on. And so they jumped on board. So now they do it. It's done automatically now, which is great. I need hydrating, you know, so I come down, I have a drink, but we all go back onto the marae at the same time. There's a place, we're still tapu, we're still in this place of tapu. We need to go into this place of noa. That's sort of the right place, from tapu to noa. And so we have to go to do that, we need to go back into the marae. So where the coffin was is all filled in now. It's quite lovely, and all the whānau can lie down there when they come in. But that's where we bless the korowai. We take it out of tapu and make it peaceful again, and the family can take it home. We have another karakia there, but it's very brief. Very brief. Māori will say a quick karakia. Bishop will say a quick karakia, and then we hand it over. And the family then thank everybody for all the work. It's lovely. It's lovely. And they sing a song, or it's a happy time. And they sing a song, and then we all go for a big kai.
I think even doing it in the house setting in Russell, we follow those basic protocols and order of how things are done.
Yeah.
Yeah. The garage might have all the food in. The lounge is where the upakaku has been lying.
Yeah.
Yes. But we go back to bless the house as well as the korowai?
Yeah. Yeah. So generally the priest will, it's not so urgent nowadays. Once upon a time, the priest used to be rushed away to the house before the meal. They're not so strict on that anymore. It's a little bit like the water thing.
Yes.
You know, they've adapted. Okay. And so now they'll allow everybody to go through the process of tapu and no on the marae and all of those people. The only thing that's still tapu is the house.
Or the truck, if you carried the...
Yeah, there's the truck too. Yeah.
I learned that the first time because I'd cleansed the house, and then I was going out the gate and they said, what about the truck?
Yeah.
So I learned that one.
Often I'm able to do the truck either at the cemetery or when we're waiting for the rest of them to come down from the uruka.
It all makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little thing, a little helpful thing, and I know we haven't talked about takahita whare.
Yeah.
But just a little thing around the takahita whare, and when you are using water, I use a leaf.
Yeah.
A leaf is quite a moving thing. I certainly, as a Māori, and I know Kito uses a leaf, and that's where I learnt it, was from Bishop Kito. I watched him.
I use a bit of tea tree.
Yeah, bit of tea tree, something with leaves, you know, little leaves on it, so it'll sprinkle.
Yes.
Rather than trying to do it with your own hands, or worse still, I saw someone using a Coke bottle one day, and I just, you know, had holes in the, Anyway, that's just... Oh, I don't know, that's not such a good look. Anyway, so yeah, leaves, you know, a bowl and leaves, and I just find it much easier with everything, you know, just open the driver's door and you right through the inside, and then open the boot, and beautiful. Beautiful. Same with takahita whare. You can do a room in 3 sweeps.
Yep. That's good.
Yeah, as you bless. Yeah, sorry we didn't get to takahita whare, but I think it was important, and I think Heather, you already know some of the protocols anyway, and Megan, it's probably been helpful for you as well. But to know that the word tangi itself for Māori means not just the funeral day. That's one of the biggest messages I leave with you today. A tangi is a 4-day event or 3-day event. Much, much more for the pirihi. So we developed very quickly, we developed a program in response to the Decade of Mission, Anglican Missions Board Decade of Mission. The Piopatango o Aotearoa developed a program called Minata Whānau. And you know what, and I don't know if I said this to you before, Megan, I may have, I can't help but think that local shared ministry is in fact Minata Whānau. The difference is that local shared ministry has ordained ministry in it. Ministry of Minata Whānau is not. They're not ordained. But they carry out the non-sacramental duties. They can do evening prayer. They can do morning prayer. They can even do the funeral. They can do, they can't bless a house because they can't sanctify the water. But, you know, it's just those usual sort of priestly jobs, sacramental jobs and those sort of things they can't do. But otherwise, whānau themselves can actually do it. So we're trying to empower more people on marae and in the home to carry out those duties. And we provide them with the liturgy, you know. And I think it's a great program. It's been for 3 years in the development, but sorry, 3 years in the implementation. So, but I can't help but think that local shared ministry was also a way in which you could empower the local people of your community. And I think that's what it does. It empowers them. The only difference is that sacramental, you've got ordained people, licensed ordained people carrying out the sacramental duty. So you still have a lot of pressure on priests to be at particular hui because of that sacramental power. Thank you, Heather, for coming.
Oh, thank you for taking the time when there was only me. But I've learnt such a lot, and with Bishop Keto, to understand the background to the prayer book was really enlightening.
Oh, it's lovely.
So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, let us close with the grace, which I have. You probably don't need the words, but let us close with the grace. Kia tau, kia
katoa. Te atapai o tātou tariki o ihu karaki, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhinga pakitanga ki te wairua tapu, ake. Amen.
Kia ora, kia ora. Was there anything you'd like to ask me, Heather?
No, I think that was very helpful to see that what I'm seeing in this community, because we're pretty mixed here, in the house setting, is still what's happening on the marae, more or less.
Yes. Yes.
So that was good.
Yes. And of course, it's all about empowering you. And I'm really warm to hear that Kaumātua help you. And you're also not frightened to reach out and ask. Good on you.
No.
Rather than just assume, oh, yes, I'll just open my book and I'll go blah, 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 blah.
No, I've had wonderful support from Kaumātua and from you too. Yeah. Thank you.
Lovely. Kia ora, Heather.
Ka pai tō rā.
Ai, me koe hoki, me koe.
Ka pai tō rā hoki, Megan.
Pai. Anoho rā.
Noho ora mai.
Kiti anō.